Hello, I'm David DRoger, General Counsel for the Las Vegas Police Protective Association. In this segment, I'd like to generate some discussion and talk to you about responding to calls where an individual is threatening to commit suicide. Obviously, it's very sad that individuals are in such emotional distress that they want to take their lives. But the question for you is, how do you respond to that call? And for purposes of discussion, let's assume that the individual is alone. There are no hostages. There's nobody else in the residence, nobody else in harm's way. What do? Do you run code to the location? Or do you wait for supervisors and wait for backup, or do you even respond at all? I mean, this is something that the department is going to have to examine. You as a law enforcement officer, even though you might be CIT certified, may not be in the best position to talk someone down. And what happens when you do respond? You know, are you escalating the situation? Does the person then decide to take his or her own life because law enforcement is outside of the residence or the building? Or, which happens quite frequently, does this become suicide by cop? Does the individual exit the home, point a weapon at an officer or others, and cause you to use deadly force? And to what end? Now you will be relieved of duty. You'll be questioned about your conduct, your shooting, whether deadly force was necessary. This is a bill that is making its way through the legislature right now. It's AB 268. Tell me if this makes any sense as legislation. It will amend NRS Chapter 193. Quote, in carrying out his or her duties, a peace officer shall not use deadly force against a person based on the danger that the person poses to himself or herself. If a reasonable officer would believe that the person does not pose an imminent threat of death or serious bodily harm to the peace officer or another person. So, what does that mean? That is Graham versus Connor, right? I mean, if the person is just threatening to shoot him or herself, then you're not going to use force anyway, right? You're not going to certainly use deadly force. So those are the types of things that the legislature is going through right now. And so I hope that you and your squad mates will have a discussion on how to handle these types of calls. Do you run code when it's just a single person threatening to kill him or herself? You might decide that the better course of action is to wait for a supervisor to arrive and back up officers if you are responding to the call. Make sure that instead of approaching the house, maybe you make sure that the adjacent homes are empty. There are a lot of things that you can do to slow the momentum, and that's really what policy directs, and that is a prudent course of action from a lawyer's perspective that will hopefully prevent you from having to use deadly force. And please understand, these videos are to generate discussion. All of you are the experts. I'm just a lawyer who defends cops. So please be safe. If you have any questions, comments, please email me at droger@lvppa.com. I'm always happy to respond to your requests. If you have other topics along this line, please send me those topics. And of course, please visit davidroger.us. That is a mobile-friendly website that has legal resources for you, and you can also view all of the videos on that website. Thank you.